No problem, no problem. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You said you're in Eastern time, but you have like a very Southern accent. So where are you from?
I'm North Carolina.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't hold it against me.
No, not at all. I love North Carolina. It's probably pretty warm there, huh?
Yeah, it is. We we've got customers kind of all over the country, and that's probably one of the biggest things people talk about up north, having horses and having to deal with the weather and things of that nature. So it's kind of cool to be down here and not have to deal with the winters like you guys do.
You're right. I know. You're right. Can be
So
tough.
I got to ask you, where did Laramie come from? I have never seen this name before in my life.
Really? Um,
Really?
a lot of people they're like, oh, your parents named you after Laramie, Wyoming, that's actually not true. It's from a movie.
Mm.
I'm not exactly sure what movie. I can't remember right now, but
Oh.
it was from a movie. So
Well, how cool is that?
yeah, no, I'm definitely happy with it. I think it's pretty cool. So
Well, I think it's really cool that you're talking to me kind of on a whim.
yeah,
I met you, well, at Terry. We just talked to Terry. I'm doing some shirts and stuff for Terry, and he was
yep,
up there. You guys, you own Clark Farms quarter horses, and you guys
yep.
just had a colt starting competition. That's not all you do, though, right?
Right, yeah. So for probably, oh gosh, maybe 4 decades now, or maybe even five, we've bred and raised registered quarter horses. So obviously my dad, my grandfather, my grandmother kind of started the whole operation, and it has just kind of been passed down to me about a decade ago, like 9, 10 years ago. Um, so everything, like pedigree-wise that we have here right now is I've had a hand in making sure that is here, and that's really exciting to me because
Yeah.
um, it's fun and interesting to me to breed horses and see what you get each year and see how they ride. I think it's so important for these breeders to actually ride the horses they breed. I'm
Oh,
not sure
yeah.
I'm not sure how many people actually do. I think a lot of people, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I feel like maybe there are some people out there that breed horses that they never step foot on, and how can you kind of know what you're breeding if you don't know how they're gonna ride or what they're gonna be
Well,
like.
so wait, you keep all of the babies until they're ready to be broke, or do you sell them as
No,
babies?
no. So we have about 40 babies each year.
Oh,
About half of
wow. That's
them,
a lot of
about
babies.
it is. It actually is. We've slowly kind of, when I first started, we had about 20 to 25 babies and broodmares, and then we've just kind of kept buying different broodmares, obviously, because we need to expand genetics sometimes as much as we can, but all while also maintaining the integrity of our own program.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, about half of them will sell as babies, and the other half will typically remain here until they're yearling to 2-year-old. And then I'm kind of left over with probably about 10 to 15 2-year-olds, and that's where the colt starting came in.
Oh,
There
cool.
was a there was a girl and I here, just us two working together 365 days a year, no men involved, and we were, to be honest, for lack of better terms, we were lazy and didn't want to start all these 2-year-olds by ourselves. And we're like, we should just start a colt starting competition. So 6 years ago, we had our first colt starting competition. We had 6 adults, and it just kind of grew up into what it is now. This
Yeah.
past year was really special, but um, yeah,
That's pretty
so
ingenious, though, if you ask me. I mean, that's one way to kill two birds with one stone.
it was. I know. I don't even know what made us think of it, but one day we're just like, we have all these 2-year-olds every year. Why don't we have a colt starting? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's genius. So
Yeah.
it was just two women that didn't have the time to do it all, because we have, over 100 head of horses here that need fed and taken care of and vetted and bred, and It's a lot of work, especially for two women. That's for sure.
Well, so you do it all there at your place. When you say bread, like you just said that, horses get
Mhm.
bread and stuff. You do everything, all of it there.
Yeah. So we offer live
Holy
cover.
cow.
I also collect our own stallions semen, so we're shipping semen all the time here. So I kind of have, like, I wear many hats, I like to say, because we kind
Yeah.
of do everything from the time that the baby is an embryo until, they're 2 years old, they're here. So it's a 3-year process for every single horse on the place, unless they stay to be a broodmare or stallion or something.
Yeah.
So.
Now, so I'm on your website now, actually, and I'm kind of looking at your stallions. You've got 1, 2, 3,
Mhm.
4. We got 5, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's a lot to take care of at one spot.
Yeah. So we run on about 3,000 to 3,500 acres. There's multiple farms.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are, especially being in Pennsylvania, are kind of confused when they come here and they're like, we have to drive, 10, 15 minutes to a different farm where there's horses, and they're like, where are we going?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I can't keep all the horses right here. That would be nice if I, like, everything was here. But,
Yeah.
we we try to rotational graze as much as possible, so we're not we're not using up stored hay or anything like that. I try to use pastures as sparingly as I can and put horses where they can be sustained for as long as possible.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's the operation. I mean, that's a really big operation. It's not, when you first look at it, like I'm first looking at it now, I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's maybe 1 or 2 stallions. It's not. But to hear you talk, it's like way bigger than what it's presented, and which is
It
cool.
is.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we get lucky. So most of the stallions can winter together. A lot of people don't really know that, but we do house about 3 or 4 stallions together in the winter in one pasture, and they talk to each other here and there, and they sniff each other all the time, and it is what it is, but they get used to each other and they're fine out there. And then there's a couple that we keep in, close to home, some of the older ones. There's 2 older ones on the website there that we take a little closer care of just because of their age.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, it's not too hateful. We just, like I said, I try to utilize the land as much as I can and make it as easy on myself as I can.
Right. Right. No. Yeah. Absolutely. So, do you guys ever travel off of the farm and show any of the horses at all? You just kind of keep them there, and then people
Mhm.
come shop there.
Yeah, so we do. I have taken a few this past year. A boy that works here had just taken a mare to a sorting a few weeks ago, and um, that was the last anything was shown here. But that was just a few weeks ago. We've hit kind of peak hay season right now, so everything is kind of at a standstill right now, just until we can get all our hay put up,
Yeah.
for the winter time. But yes, we do show outside of here, but a lot of people will come here also, and a lot of horses sell sight unseen, which is fabulous.
Right.
I'm sure
Yeah.
anybody would prefer that, but yeah, so that has been very helpful. Facebook has been amazing. Like it's free advertisement, and as long as you just keep up with it and just keep people intrigued, it can be a really useful tool.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I was just talking to somebody about it the other day. I was like, it's a double-edged sword but with anything, but, you would
Mhm.
never have met some people that you're able to meet unless you were on social media,
Oh, for
like,
sure.
so I bet that does do a lot for you. Now, now, do you guys, obviously you don't offer board or lessons or any of that type of stuff. It's just strictly kind of breeding and,
Mhm.
that type of ordeal, right?
I did, yeah. So I did offer lessons way back when I first started. I was still in college at the time.
Oh,
I took,
okay.
yeah, so I kind of took over when I was 18. Um, and then I commuted to college, an hour each way.
Oh,
and
wow.
and ran this place by myself. Now, there wasn't as many brood mares. Like I said, there's probably only like 20, 25 at the time, but
Yeah.
it that yeah, it was
Well, so wait a minute. So so back it up. So what did you
good.
go to what did you go to college for?
I had originally wanted to be a vet, so I started out pre-vet.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and I realized very quickly that I did not want to be a vet. I wanted to breed and raise horses, and I'm so glad I did. But I am not someone that doesn't finish things. So I switched my major because I didn't want to just make $15 an hour as a vet tech. Nothing
Right.
against vet techs, like we need
Right.
them, but that just wasn't my journey.
Right. No.
So
I
I
completely agree with what you're saying. They don't get paid
they
enough
don't
for
get
what they
paid
deal with.
enough.
That's for sure.
Absolutely not. No. So I switched my major actually to math education because I was like, if the horse business or the horse industry kind of fails or falls through, whatever, I can always just be a teacher, and they have great hours. I was really thinking more of like a freedom thing, and if I did need to do horses on the side, that would be a job that I definitely could kind of do
Right.
both. But it wasn't something that I was tied to, 12 months of the year. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, that's another profession that doesn't get paid enough for what they deal with,
I know.
right?
You're right. For sure. I was looking at it more for like the schedule and the benefits and things like that, more so than the pay on that one. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, but well, like you said, you could make it up for horse stuff. You would have time to
Yeah.
be able to, do the horse stuff. So, all right. Well, that leads me to my next question. Obviously, you were already you were just like born into it. Like you were
Mhm.
probably around horses before you even came here because your parents
Mhm.
started this, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Or your grandparents?
My grandparents. Yep.
God, Jesus Christ, that's a long time. That's pretty awesome though to keep that going as long as it's been going because you don't, not a lot of
Sure.
people do that.
So it's funny. I'm actually, I think, the sixth generation that's been here on this particular farm. Now the horses haven't been here that long, but I think the first generation had come here, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think they came here with a team of oxen and a cart, and I'm pretty sure they farmed tomatoes for Heinz ketchup. I'm pretty sure that was like the first farming kind of operation that happened 6 generations ago.
Catch
And
up to
then,
quarter horses.
yeah, that would be a great title, actually. And
I
then,
know, I like that. No, I like that because I love there's nothing like homegrown tomatoes, so come on now.
yeah, and then it just kind of, they've had cows, and my brother runs a really extensive Angus operation
Oh, cool.
right down the street. So, yeah, we all got something going on.
Yeah. Well, so, and then I wanted to also ask you about, because it was funny that Terry had mentioned you. I don't even know how we mentioned you, but, because he said he was going to he's going to win his championship again, which he did.
He did, I know, little sucker.
But I happened to run across your page, and then I saw the photo of the zebra, so I got to ask you about the photo of the zebra. I know it caused a little bit of controversy, but
Yes.
it's legal though, right? Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's definitely very legal.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, dang, they're giving her a hard time over this. I don't think she had posted it.
No, it is definitely very legal. So, my family are very avid hunters. I mean, my brother has been to Russia, New Zealand, Africa. He's been they've been to Mexico. I mean, my dad's been a lot of places too. So this particular zebra, the story behind it is my dad had went hunting with this group of people back in March of this year, and so they became friends, obviously, and the manager of the ranch had contacted my dad and said, hey, I have this zebra down here. He's killing all of our, little lambs and goats and just like causing a ruckus.
I heard that they were assholes.
Yeah, so I actually wanted a zebra. Side story. I wanted a pet zebra, and my vet was like, okay, but I am not working on your zebra. Like, she was like very adamant about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I guess I didn't realize they were like that either.
Yeah, yeah.
And so anyway, we went down. The manager of the ranch was like, will you come and kill it, obviously. And my dad's like, yeah, I wanted a zebra. My brother had shot one in Africa many moons ago, and my dad was like, you want to go with me? And I was like, yeah, sure. And meanwhile, I'm 34 weeks pregnant. I'm like swollen, uncomfortable, but it was so much fun, and it's really not like, it's not like we went out there and shot a quarter horse or something. It's really funny how people are so upset about the zebra, but that's okay.
Well, it is funny actually, because like we always end up kind of bringing this up some way, shape, or form, because it's like we've domesticated animals that aren't really
Yeah.
and like we get like real kind of well, like I was just talking about it a couple of months ago. I have to drop orders off. I ship orders internationally to Canada and Mexico. And so I have to go to, I have to actually go there. They don't come pick it up and drop off orders. And I was talking to the guy. We ended up talking about horse meat, which is so weird because, I mean, here in America, if you say something like that, people will just kind of like, oh, no, they'll just flip out and all that kind of stuff, which I get it. It's cool, know. But in other places, it's a delicacy. Like, they like it's not as big of a deal as we make things sometimes.
No, yeah. Yeah, and it certainly wasn't like I didn't post it to be malicious or anything. I'm like, okay, so people can raise deer or whatever the heck they're raising and kill them and eat them, or chickens or whatever, and it's fine. But like we bring in like an equine species and it's the end of the world. Like I just don't understand. I really don't.
No, I'm with you. I'm on your side with it, because I was just kind of thinking the same thing. I was like,
another thing is like people are okay with people killing coyotes, and that's like a canine species. And I'm like, yeah. So that's whatever. That's just my thought on it.
But I didn't actually know. I didn't know. I mean, I would assume that they were tags. Like, you can do the hunts that they have, like in Africa, like you said your brother did one. You can buy those hunts and go do those types of hunts. Didn't know if it was actually like a tag thing here in the United States, because I keep seeing more and more zebras around. But I'm just like you. That I was told that they were little assholes. I was told that you didn't want one. Like, they were not cool to have.
Yeah, I've heard that, especially when I was on my hunt to actually like buy one as a pet. People were like, absolutely not, like don't do it. And I was like upset because I really wanted one just to look at, like they're so cool. Like you drive by, like you don't see a zebra in Pennsylvania, and then people were just like, especially when my vet said I'm not working on it. I'm like, all right, well I guess that means I definitely can't get one because it'll get sick and die. But
well, let me ask you this. So do y'all, now aside from the whole breeding and all this kind of good stuff, have you ever shown do you like to do that part of the horse industry, or you just stick to the business part of it?
When I was younger, I definitely showed a lot more. I had shown a bunch there was an organization up here called the Northeast Stock Horse Association. I don't think it's around anymore. I think it was, I was little, like 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever. I started there, and then just had kind of shown a little here and there in sortings and pennings and things like that, or little ranch trail classes here and there. And then as I got older and I finished high school and went to college, it's really tough to find the time to go anywhere. I also got married kind of young. I was 20 when I got married, and we just kind of we just continued working and trying to make sure that all the horses were taken care of, and to load up after a long week to go to a show. It was tough for me. I won't lie. I mean, studying for college and taking care of all these horses was a lot. It was a lot as a 18, 19, 20-year-old person. And then I had kids, and then that just made it even tougher, but to get anywhere. But No, I'm excited for that chapter, though. I'm really excited for my kids to be able to show them way more than I do.
Yeah.
And just, figure out what they like and what they don't like and things like that.
Well, I mean, I was just fixing to say I'm not knocking showing at all. I think it's amazing,
Mhm.
but you probably learn more from the actual,
Mhm.
like, operation perspective of
Oh, for
how
sure.
horses are bred and raised and like, everything like you just said. You could probably learn more
Mhm. For
watching
sure.
you and following you and doing that stuff than you actually can showing. Again, not knocking it, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, what you
No,
had to deal with was a lot more hard work.
I totally agree. I will tell you up front. I'll tell anybody up front. I absolutely love, and I feel like I was put on this earth to be in the spot that I'm at. Like I don't
Yeah.
need to I don't need to ride horses all day long. I don't need to train horses all day long. But what I love is making horses. I love, seeing. I just called 2 people yesterday that had mares in that we've been trying to breed since April. And the mares kept coming up open, and I finally got to call them yesterday and tell them that their mares are bred. And it's just like the excitement that they have, and it really makes me feel good. And when people just see pictures of our babies on Facebook, and they message me and they're like, I want that one, and they buy it sight unseen because they trust me. And a big one is the colt starting. My gosh, this last colt starting is phenomenal. Everybody there, like everybody just got along. Everybody helped each other, and the amount of feedback that I got from that one, just saying like how great the horses looked, how smoothly everything ran, how there were, I don't know, 5 or 6 vendors and, a slushy truck, a food truck,
Yeah.
coffee truck. I mean, it's just like, it was like a little carnival here right literally at my house. And it was just like, there is nothing better than that to me. And actually, I was just telling my dad that. He was asking me beforehand, he was like, do you have much interest in the 2-year-olds? And I was like, I don't even think about it. I never actually think about it beforehand. I don't want to say I don't care if they sell, but it's more important to me that people enjoy themselves and that the trainers actually, they enjoy training the horses. They enjoy starting the horses. That is
Right.
way more important to me than making $1, I'll be honest. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm the most humble person. But it's just like the feedback you get, especially from this year that I got, was just like $1,000,000 to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, that speaks volumes for the character because, I mean, it's like, horses is not, like me, I do embroidery in a shirt. It's not like I make a bad
mhm.
shirt and, okay, well, I can just fix it real quick. Horses is kind of, breeding horses is a whole other different ball
That,
game. And so
yeah. That's so
the
funny you
end.
say that because I'm getting ready to go on maternity leave. Like, I know you can't see me, but I'm doing like air quotes because you cannot go on maternity leave in this industry. And I always tell people, I'm like, it's not like I'm making shirts or something. Like, I can't just quit for 3 months and come back to it anytime I want to. Like, I still have to oversee everything, and it is really tough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's I envy you. I
Ah,
envy you for being able to just take a lead like that if you need to, but it's all
yeah.
right.
Well, you do have a lot to take care of, but obviously, I mean, obviously you have people there to help you that,
I do.
imagine keeping that many horses on a schedule and on the things that you have to take care of. That's a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have one full-time employee, and then my husband helps me, and I have an intern that I hired for the summer to get me through.
Yeah.
um, so I'm thankful for that for sure.
I'm looking at all of the pictures right now from on your online, and
Hmm.
the only thing I could think about is the man from Snowy River. That's the first thing when I'm looking at these photos. That's exactly
Yes.
what I'm thinking about.
Oh,
That's the
yes.
only. These are really cool, actually. These look really great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it just looks like it's just what raising horses is about. Like it's just a herd of horses, and just
Hmm.
like kind of what it should be. Because back to what we were just saying with the whole zebras and the way America and people have kind of just domesticated things
Yeah.
in a way they shouldn't be,
Mhm.
it's nice to see a horse kind of be in its natural element, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
That's very funny that you said that. Actually, I had a mare. I have a small story for you. I had a mare that I sold that was super feral, barely halter broke. I mean, our brood mares live out in pasture. They don't ever see grain. They eat grass in the summer, hay in the winter, and they have 24/7 access to a protein tub and loose mineral, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like I don't baby them. I don't do anything like that. But so I had sold this mare
Which
that
I think
was
is great, by the way. I think it's great you do that. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's I do too. I'm like, but anyway, I had sold one of the mares, and I told the girl, I'm like, she's kind of feral. She's not halter broke. Like, just be careful. You know, if you're gonna really work with her or whatever, that's great. She'll probably come around fast. Blah blah blah. Well, I've had probably 5, 6 foals from this mare, and never had any problems. I mean, I couldn't even really get up to her if she did have problems. You know.
Yeah.
So I sold her, and she kind of lived in like a smaller pasture, maybe like a paddock type thing. I don't know if she brought her in, you know, to grain her or anything. I have no idea what the living situation was like, really. But I know it probably wasn't on 100 or 150 acres.
Right.
But the mare actually this year had a red bag foal, which the girl ended up saving, and then a couple months later, just recently, the mare had a flipped colon and colic, and she had to be put down. And I'm like, I was talking to my dad about it. I'm like, that is just so weird to me that she's had like 2 instances like this, and I've never had an issue with her ever. And I was like, I always sometimes wonder if we as humans, and I'm guilty of it too, so it's not anybody's fault, but I'm just wondering if we kind of step in too much as humans to try to help them, and we don't kind of let them be the animal that they are, if that makes sense.
No, 110%. I agree. 150 more if I can. I totally agree because I was just talking about. I don't think people realize that horses have been. Well, you probably do. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but non-horse people, the people that kind of got into it after Yellowstone made it popular, the horse industry has kind of been its own niche until that happened. And it's like, you know, when COVID happened, it kind of put people a lot online more than real life. And so you got to see a bunch of these groups and comments and people and stuff like that. And I was just saying this thing the other day. I was like, we fed sweet feed. Don't even mention the word sweet feed now to anybody. They will flip out. But we never had any problems. We didn't have colic. We didn't have issues. We didn't have nothing. None of that stuff happened back then. And you didn't hear about it with our friends either, like the people we rode with and the people we showed with. And so I totally agree, 110%, because it's like the more things that are made to do this, the more therapies, the more products, the more stuff that's given, it's like you see more and more and more problems.
Yeah, and I'm, like I said, I'm definitely not knocking anyone. It's just it's some of these things that are happening, not just with that one, but other, other horses too that I hear about. It's just so like coincidental. Like, why did that happen? I like to know the whys of things. So I was really intrigued whenever I had heard that mare passed away. But yeah, so I don't know. I couldn't answer that, but
I think you're right though. I think it's a matter of taking her from a more natural horse environment to a kind of non-natural, non-herd, smaller place. Probably caused more issues, you know. I mean, like even me and Terry were talking about it, like the Mustangs out west and stuff. I mean, I understand the motive behind it. You got houses going up, populations going up. There's more people making people out there. You got to have room for them, you know. And you're pushing the animals out. I totally get it, but I was kind of thinking to myself, well, why don't we just leave them alone? Like, why don't why do we have to do anything about it?
Right, like let them kind of figure it out.
Because, I mean, how did they live before us? You know, it's like humans think that nothing lived before them. Like,
oh, yes, I know that. Yeah, I do know that. No,
or like business. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and it's super easy. Like, I'm not saying it's easy, but it is easier on me, obviously, to not have to grain these, 50, 60 horses every day if they can just live outside and take care of themselves. And another thing I've noticed is we buy horses from all over, and I don't think a lot of people know this either, but horses have to acclimate to certain environments. It takes about, in my experience, it takes about a year and a half to 2 years for a horse to truly acclimate. So if I bought one from South Dakota and I haul it here, she will definitely probably lose some weight and struggle a little bit. We'll have to help her out a little extra. And by the end of the second year, she's like, okay, I'm a Pennsylvania horse now. It's super weird. It's something that, like, no one talks about. I think because, you know, I don't want to say normal people, but other people that don't have as many horses, they just take them from one grain stall to the next, across the country. So they're not having to kind of deal with that acclimation process. But that is something that I have learned from just being here, and I think that it's really something that people should, like, know, because I think it's kind of cool, actually. Um, I found out so many things working here, and just kind of being here on my own, just figuring things out as I go along that people don't really talk about, but that I know about, if that makes sense. Like,
I'm picking up what you're throwing. I trust what you're saying because you live it day in and day out. This is like in your blood. So, but you are right though, because your average person, like even me, because I'm definitely not where you are, but like even me, we could get a horse and buy it from a state above me and bring it down here. I wouldn't be able to really see what you're talking about, but you're saying it takes them a minute to try to just kind of get back into the groove.
Well, if you think about it, the nutrients in the grass are kind of like totally different, right? I mean, the grass we have here and the grass that they have out west or in Texas or Florida or wherever is totally different than what we have here. So for them to kind of go from one type of grass to another, even if it's the same type of grass, maybe the protein's different, maybe there's different vitamins or whatever in the grass or soil or whatever, but it definitely does. It takes them a second for these brood mares to kind of figure it out, which I think is really interesting.
That is pretty interesting, actually, because I wouldn't think a horse would need. I mean, I know they need to figure out their pecking order and they need to try to get like their boundaries and their vicinities, but you wouldn't think that they would need to settle in.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that either.
So you guys do buy horses outside of what you've got there?
Yeah, so mainly, some of our stallions and mares are related. They're brother and sister, or they're mother and father, so we have to kind of bring in a few different bloodlines here and there. I really just scour Facebook a lot, and I'll just look, or I have people text me or call me and be like, hey, I have this horse for sale, and if it's a good deal and I'm comfortable buying it, then I'll buy it. It's nice to have, some different things going on and add new things going on. My dad, we were actually just talking the other day because, like I said a little bit ago, 2 of our stallions are getting older. And they're 2 stallions that I'm really proud of, and we are soon going to need to buy another new stallion that's not, related to these 2.
Right.
Because I have so many daughters of them both, and I want to cross on something else. So keeping my eyes and ears open just for a good young stallion that's, we can ride, that's broke to ride and show if we want to. We had bought a finished train cow horse stallion, oh my gosh, maybe 8, 9 years ago now. I don't know how long exactly, but he's sterile now, but he has been just a dream to have. I mean, I didn't realize how important a broke stallion was until I had one, and I like it because you can really showcase your program through a stallion like that. You
Yeah.
can take them anywhere. You can do whatever you want with them. And I I will really be on the look for something. The tough part right now about quarter horse stallions is that they're all kind of really bred similarly. So
They're bred
looking for
what?
similarly, as in like
Uh,
everything is by metallic cat, or everything is by highbrow cat, or dual ray, or and it's we have a son of Pepto Bismol that we stand right now, and I adore him and his babies. But it's like, where do you go from there? Like, how do you top that? Is kind of where I'm at right now.
That is a good point, actually, because it's like, it's so hard. I've always thought, even not even with horses, but everything, like what you just said, how do you top that? You get used to something and being in the industry and being considered top of the line, the best of the best. You've also got to keep your eye open for what's coming up behind it, because it's not, things change. It's not going to stay that way forever.
Right.
So, to be able to keep up with staying here, but also be lookout for what's going to be the new best of the best, the new thing. That's hard to kind of figure out, stay on top of.
Yeah, I yeah, no doubt. I've been looking for a while. Not that I'm anticipating anything to change soon, or at least I pray not. But we do have to figure out. You can't just be stagnant with no big name stallion to offer to the public, because Pepto's blueprint has really opened a lot of doors for us.
Yeah.
I remember purchasing him 3 years ago, I guess now, and it just changed the whole trajectory of the breeding program. I mean, people were calling me left and right, wanting shipped semen on them, wanting to bring mares here, and I couldn't believe it. If you would have told me before that, a stallion makes a big difference, I would have been like, yeah, sure. But then when we got him, it was like, man, it really opened a lot of doors, and I'm so thankful for him every day.
Beautiful.
I really am. He's something, and I tell everybody, I'm like, you've never seen a horse like this. Like, you have to see him in person. He's incredible. I've seen so many horses in my life, and I've never, ever seen one like him. He's just incredible.
He's gorgeous. I'm going to need more pictures of this. I need more internet pictures for people like me.
He's honestly the nicest horse I've ever seen. He's just incredible. I can't even put it into words, honestly.
Yeah. So it's a good thing that you get to handle these guys, and you can kind of make it, because, I've had this conversation before, you're outside, brand new to the horse industry, even people that have been in the horse industry for a long time, you say the word stallion, they all of a sudden tense up, they don't necessarily know what to think of it, they get scared of it, et cetera, et cetera. So the fact that you handle these is really kind of speaks volumes.
Oh gosh, yeah. I was at a horse expo one year. I'd taken that rain cow horse stallion down there just to show in a stallion demo type thing. And there's other people there with stallions also. And it's so funny because a lot of people, they'll yell out into the crowd, "Stallion coming, be careful." Right. And I'm just walking my stallion through the, everything, like he's a broke gelding. And I think that a lot of people make it a big deal, and then the stallion feeds off of that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a stallion. I have to act like it." And I'm like, "No, you really don't. We can walk through here like you're a gelding, and you will."
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm going to need you to calm down. It's not that big of a deal.
No, it's not at all. It's really not. We don't need to make it. We don't need to make it worse than it can be. Gosh, some stallions are tough, but.
Yeah. But you've got a pretty good string there that you got now.
Oh, gosh, yes. I would trust anybody to handle them, yeah.
And now, so when people bring mares, people will bring their mare to you, and you live cover them there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now they take their mare back home, and they can fold them out at home, or do you keep the mares there and fold them out there?
No. Thank goodness. I would be a nervous wreck if I had to foal anybody's horses out, because I'll tell you why. Well, all of my babies are born outside in the pasture. I check on them. I do foal checks every morning, the first thing before I even feed horses. And if there's a new one, we run out and we grab it up, because usually, at 7, 8 in the morning, they're still pretty fresh, and we can get our hands on them, and we'll treat their navels with iodine and just kind of love all over them for a second and let them go, and then that's the end of it. I think a lot of people were like, I can't believe you, like, don't put them in a stall. And I'm like, the only problems I've ever had with babies have been ones born in a stall. And that's really sad.
Wow.
But it's true. Yeah, so I try not to do too much. I try not to get involved too much, but I do want to make sure that their umbilical cord is, or their umbilical area is clean, and I've had a few babies get infections through their umbilical area, and that is fatal, so I do try to avoid that as much as possible. But otherwise, they're just out there. They figure it out. The mares do so much better out there. I've never, speaking of the red bag thing from earlier, I've never had red bag. Knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood.
Right, me too.
But I mean, it's really simple, actually. I know my brother, he calves, I don't know, 150 Angus calves every year or whatever, and he's checking them. He's doing, like, every 4-hour check.
Like it's nothing.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's like, we're so used to it, I guess, but he likes that. He's out there every couple hours checking on them, and they're all in pens, and I'm just like, man, that could not be for me. I, like, sleep too much.
Right. Yeah, no, and I think it's cool as hell that you have this big operation that's been running for, so many years, and you literally just leave it like it's supposed to be left alone. Like you really just let it be natural. Like what you just said, okay, if they had the baby, you're going to check that and just kind of let it be. I think that produces a better horse, obviously. I'm not even saying it. Obviously it does.
Yeah. I'll have people that I can always tell also when horses have foaled inside or in a stall, versus horses that foal out in the herd setting like we have. And I get it, not everybody, they can afford that, or not everybody has that luxury to keep them outside like that. But babies are so much more bonded to their mother when they're born out in a herd setting in the pasture, versus babies that are born in a stall. And I say that because, like, just for instance, walking with their mother, if I'm leading the mare to a baby that was born outside in a pasture herd setting, they are like glue to their mother. They don't leave, they don't wander off, they don't get curious, they don't do any of that. Yeah. Ones that are born in a stall, they're like, oh, what's over here? What's over here? What's over here? And it's like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, stay with us. We're still going somewhere. But
that's so weird, and that's so cool. I mean, it's weird and interesting that is something that you've noticed, because that kind of makes sense if you think about it. Because if they are born out in a herd setting and it's so wide open, to me, if I was a foal, I'd be like, all right, let me stay close to this lady.
Yeah, it's just another one of those weird things that I've noticed over the years. Like, oh man, it's really cool. And I think those little things, not like me in particular, but noticing those tiny details like that is what really makes a person in any industry, like, extraordinary. I'm not saying I am. I'm just saying that people that pay attention to things like that, just small details, are very important to any industry, no matter what it is. If it's, I don't know, working at Sheetz, or if it's working in a bank or whatever. Like, if you're going to be in an industry, you have to notice the small details, and you have to just pay attention. A lot of people
That's
don't
funny
pay
you said
attention anymore.
Do y'all have Sheetz up there? Do you have Sheetz up there?
Oh, yes, I love Sheetz. Do you have Sheetz?
It. I love Sheetz. I'm drinking. That's so funny you said that, because I love their iced coffee. I love they have really good food.
Yeah. I know. I didn't even think about it being like a location-based business. But yeah, no, we have Sheetz. Yeah.
I didn't know. Well, I asked that because I think I spoke to somebody else, and I don't remember where they're at, but they said they didn't have it. So I'm going to have to Google that and see if Sheetz is kind of like in a particular area, or if they are all over the U.S. or not. I don't know, but no, I love Sheetz, and it's really cool you said that.
No, I know they're not all over. I thought they would stop, like, more north of you, though, but maybe not.
I don't know. I'm going to have to Google how far Sheets is out. I do know that they were started in, like, West Virginia, or Virginia was, like, one of the main,
Yeah.
like, the first one or whatever, and then it, sprouted. But that's funny you said that. I absolutely love Sheets. Have you had their tacos?
Oh, of course. I've had, like,
Stop
everything on the
it.
menu. They're so good.
They are good.
Yeah, and then you go to, like, Wawa or, I'm trying to think of what is down south. I guess there's Wawa down there. And I'm trying to think
I
of
don't
what's in
know.
Florida
No.
because we go there all the time. But, like,
Oh.
there's, like, you go there and it's like, this is not Sheets. Like, I need Sheets down here.
Yeah. Let me get some cheap gas station food because it is good.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, my God.
So, besides the fact that you're a badass who's pregnant and shooting and hunting, which is pretty cool, by the way.
Yeah.
What else do you do besides pretty much run this business? Do you guys?
That's a really great question. I don't do much. No, I'm very lucky. We do take a family vacation every January to Florida, and that is literally like the highlight of my year.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind. I really don't mind my work. I don't feel like I go to work every day, which is nice. I mean, some days suck, obviously. Like, you have bad days as with any job, but
Yeah.
I never wake up and I'm like, oh God, I have to go like clock in, even though I don't clock in. But like, I don't ever feel that way. So to say that I do anything else, I don't. I'm also a real estate agent.
Well, that's what I was fixing to. I've messed up my whole question. You do real estate too, so do you?
Yeah. So I just started that a couple years ago, just as something like an additional source of income.
Right.
It's very seasonal for me, obviously, because foaling season is super busy, and then getting ready for the colt starting is super busy. And then breeding season is all day long, pretty much from April to August. So if I can fit, I just had 2 showings this past Wednesday night, and I'll do showings for people especially people that I know or things like that. But I try not to put too much on my plate, and my main focus will always be the horses, and they'll always come first. But it is nice to have, help people find homes as well.
Right.
Because I love home decor. I'm like a junkie, and I love like going and seeing the different, architectures and how people have places set up. I love that. So yeah, it's just a little fun, something else to do, just something else to get into.
Well, I think it keeps you fresh too, because you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to do something for so many years, and to do the same thing for so many years over and over, to be able to keep it fresh a little bit and do something else, it doesn't mean you don't necessarily hate what you do or don't want to do what you do. It just keeps it fresh a little bit. I mean,
Right, and I definitely dealt with that a little bit because my house is right across the road from the barn. I walk to work every day, and for a few years I had struggled pretty bad with really severe burnout and just never feeling like I could get away from my work. And when I kind of like got over that and just realized that it's a blessing that I don't have to drive to work, and it's a blessing like when I realized in my mind that I don't have to be mentally here in this barn 24/7. I can be at home and it be my home and not just like a neighbor to my work. It got a lot better for me. I definitely don't feel that way anymore, but I'm
glad you brought that up.
Thing. Yeah.
Because I've had a couple of different conversations with that, and it is a thing. Burnout is a thing, and I think people, I keep denying it to myself. I'm like, no, Bree, you're not burnt out. You're not going to get burnt out. But I feel like I'm fixing to get there. Or I'm going to get there, and it's always good to because we're humans, man. You can't expect perfection. Like, we're not God.
Right.
You can't expect people to not have emotions or not have bad days or not have mess ups and not have that type of stuff, no matter what you do. Give me a break. Like,
yeah. And I say, like, I'm blessed now, especially having kids. I have a babysitter that comes to my house, and I know that I can always just walk across the street and like check on them or say hi to them or do whatever, and that is very comforting to me. Especially like nowadays, people sending my kid to a daycare, no, I can't do that. Like you never know what's going to happen, and I I can't imagine doing that, and that's
Well, it
another big
costs an arm
reason.
and a leg, that's for sure.
I'm so thankful that we live where we live, and even our school system is so great, and it feels safe to me. We're such a small community. But yeah, so just kind of having everything here and available and accessible is really nice for me anyway.
Yeah.
Now, since I've gotten over that. But yeah.
Well, that is a good thing because you know what, it is different. You've got kids involved. It's kind of a different. That's the whole thing. Because I don't have kids. I don't, but
Sure,
I can't
yeah.
imagine. I can't imagine having to deal with that now, like what you just said, having to send them to a daycare. For one, it costs an arm. Some people, it's not even worth it to send them to daycare. You
Oh
just might as well
yeah.
stay at home.
It's like a mortgage. It's a mortgage for us. It's a mortgage for us still, even just having a babysitter coming to our house. But you know what? You have to do what you have to do, and I recognize that I am not stay-at-home mom material. So even if it did like balance out and I would break even, I would still do it because my mental health is like I need to be the best mom I can be, and I love what I do. So there's no reason why I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you just brought that up, the whole thing about mental health, because that's a lot to be able to not struggle, but juggle everything that you juggle, full-time horses, full-time mom, family, all that kind of stuff, and business owner. I don't think people give people like even me and you, like we're run our own business and do our own thing, a little bit more grace to what it takes to have to deal with the things that we deal with.
Oh, and I know, I was just talking to someone the other day, and they're like, oh, my intern, she is a barber also. And he's like, I'll just have people calling me at like 8 or 9 at night, and I'm like, oh, yeah, girl. I'm like, I know. I was like, they're up for a long time. I would respond to anybody at any time. If it was midnight, if it was 1 a.m., if it was 8 p.m., like I responded. Or if they called me, I would answer immediately, or I would call them right back. And as I've gotten older and I'm realizing, like, yes, this job is 24/7, but my communication doesn't have to be 24/7, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like as business owners, like we are allowed and we should set, specific time parameters on when we answer calls or when we allow people into our, line of communication because, again, it goes along with the burnout thing. If you're answering calls at 12 midnight, that'll wear you down after a while. It's really tough.
You're not telling me anything.
Yeah. And I actually even not recently, maybe like the past year or two, I've gotten to the point where I will not schedule any horse showings or anything like that on a Sunday. So I always take Sunday for my family, and we do. Even if we just lay around all day, I'm like, that's fine. But at least we're all together, and we need that day for all of us. So.
Well, you're right. No, you're right. And it's hard though because I will answer at any point in time, and it's not a fear-based answer.
Yeah.
It's more like, it's you're the face of the business, and you don't want to let people down, and your business is your livelihood. It's a lot of stress, but I'm so glad you're bringing this up but it's hard.
My dad's just like that. Like you, he will answer anyone anytime, and he'll sometimes like not scold me, but he'll be like, "Why aren't you calling them?" And I'm like, "Dad, it is like 8 p.m. I will call them back tomorrow, and it will be okay. If they are not going to be happy with me for setting a boundary for myself, then I don't want them as a client anyway. Like, I'm sorry." That's just my personal opinion and how I feel. Obviously everybody's different, but yeah, it can be tough. It can be tough just trying to get everyone called back and make sure you're communicating with everyone.
Yeah, it is hard because you work for yourself, and you can't. I'm a big believer in you can't turn down money when you get it when you work for yourself. So
you're right.
Because it's hard. It's hard. It's very, very, very hard, even
It
as a
is
business
hard.
owner, to just
Yep.
kind of, because you're right. You have to set a mental health boundary. You have to set a healthy boundary to kind of be like, okay, I can't do this 24/7. This is
You're
not
right.
healthy.
No.
Because I've been doing it for 24/7.
Yes. Take a break.
It's like, you're right. You're very, very right. So.
Yeah, no. I think also I had really bad postpartum with both of my first two kids. And I think, like, when you're in that, like, survival mode that is
Right.
postpartum, you don't even think about work. And I think that's, like, nature, honestly. But at that moment, it made me realize, like, I'm allowed to set boundaries, and I should, because that is a really tough time for, new mothers. It's a really hard time. And that time did make me realize, like, oh, I do need to take the time for myself. I need to just, like, put work aside when it gets to be, 7 o'clock at night and just be a mom. Just be a mom, be a wife, be anything besides a business owner. So that, as bad as postpartum is for me and a lot of other people, it did teach me that. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't have kids, and you have kids. It's kind of a different thing. You have to. You have no other choice. You have to be able to
Right.
separate it and turn it off, and I can't imagine how that would feel to have the postpartum, but it does exist, and I'm glad that you spoke on it. It does exist, because there's a lot of women and moms that go through it.
Yep, it's tough. It is a really tough time, and I don't wish it on anybody, but it is very common, and it's just, we need to give these new moms a break.
Give them a break.
Yeah.
What do you think helped you through those times? The horses, or what specific thing do you think kind of helped you get through that?
Oh, I was in therapy. No, yeah, I did do therapy both times.
Hey, don't feel bad about therapy. I've been in therapy before. There ain't a damn thing wrong with therapy.
Oh my God, that and having a supportive husband is another thing. That if your partner's not supportive, God, I can't imagine. That would be horrible. And supportive family too. But yes, horses, absolutely. Horses are amazing. They do amazing things for people, and I don't even know if people realize what they do, honestly.
Do you think they know when you're pregnant? Do you think they can sense it when you're around?
I don't know. Maybe they definitely can tell when you're sad. I can tell you that.
Right. Well, I mean, you know those posts of those people where they're like, or when you got mamas that are pregnant, they got their belly, and dogs will lay on the belly, or cats will lay. I wonder if horses are the same way. I have no idea.
Know. I can't say I've noticed a difference really.
Sure.
But yeah, no, they definitely, like, I can't even tell you how many nights I've been here, like, just even, like, not postpartum related, but just any time I've had, like, a crisis in my life, and I just, like, come over here and sit in the stall, or, like, man, horses are just, I always say this, I'm like, they are true angels. Like, even the ones that want to kill you or whatever, like, there's gotta be an underlying reason for this. Like, we can't blame them. And I'm like, horses are not logical. This is what I love about them. They're not logical. They don't really, like, hold things against you, but, sorry.
They are like angels, though. They
really are. Like, the good
ones,
God, the good ones, people don't know. I wish people could really experience just a really good horse at least once in their life. Like, I mean, everybody. Non-horse people, too. It's magical what they can add to your life and what they can do for you, and it's amazing what you can teach them. And, like, there's really no other animal. Like, you can try to freaking halter break a cow, but let me tell you something. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to be nice. I showed steers for 10 years, all through school. And my goodness, just, like, dragging those things around, I'm like, God, I'd have a colt halter broke in 10 minutes that walks better than this thing I've been halter breaking for a year. I'm like, oh, my goodness.
Well,
But
wait,
yeah.
whoa, pump the brakes. Have you done the colt starting before? Can you start the colt? Have
No,
you done that?
I haven't done a colt starting, but yes, I've started many horses here.
Oh, how cool is that?
That have went off. Yeah. Yep. And most of them, I basically now at this point just start ones that we're keeping. But when it was just me here and another girl, we started everything that got sold, everything that we were keeping. So I've literally been in like every aspect of every part of this business. I mean, it's crazy.
That is so cool that you have started that many animals because, I mean, there are some people that would kill to have that type of
Mhm.
experience and to feel. Because, I mean, I'm not saying anything you don't know. Horses are really more about a feel than it is.
Mhm.
Like, it's not like you can just, it's not step-by-step putting a puzzle together when you own a
Right.
horse. It's, more feel. And for you to have that much experience, that much feel, there are some people out there that kill to have that.
Well, I know, and it starts. I'm going to tell you, it really starts halter breaking. I can tell you how a horse is going to be pretty much from like the first or second halter breaking session, and that's I think that's why halter breaking is one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. Is because gosh, those little babies are so smart and so like they retain so much, and from the first day to the second day, it's like a freaking light bulb went off, and they're so gosh, it's just like it's amazing. I can't even describe it. It's so fun, and then you just once they're healthy broke, you kick them out, and I might not touch them for 6 months after that, and you bring them back in, and they remember everything you taught them. It's just I can't say enough about horses. I really can't. It's just
Now, do you keep
insane.
the little halters on them with the little leashes? No, I say leash.
No, I don't.
With the lead rope. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I don't. We halter them and take the halter off every session, so they're not dragging anything. So.
Okay. I have seen that before. You see that where people in the
Mhm.
horse industry, like their babies, keep a halter on them and let them get used to it. I didn't know if that was like, I
Yeah.
don't remember how we did it, but
I have like a small phobia of keeping any halter on any horse that's
yeah.
not like in my vision. Just because of things I've seen before. Gosh, if they would get caught on something, or that would be so terrifying. So I don't leave halters on, but yeah, some people do, and that's a personal preference, but it's just not my personal
No,
preference.
I'm picking up what you're saying. When growing up, we were really big about you didn't leave the halter on, because they could step on it, they could get it hooked on something, they could kill themselves with it. So we were always taught to take them off, but I've just seen, and been told throughout the industry and time that, when you break them when they're young, you'll see people keep the little baby halters on and have like a little rope hanging down, and they want to, quote unquote, make them get used to it. And so it's always like, okay, well, it's still a horse. I mean, like,
and
the
babies
same
are
rule apply.
they're so fragile, and it just takes the extra like 15 minutes that it might take to put the halter on if you want to do something with them. Is my advice if it matters or if it amounts to anything, but it's safer, and your horse has to get used to you actually putting the halter on anyway. So just do it.
Just do it right.
Yeah, that's my opinion, but everybody has an opinion.
Well, I am just so like kind of taken back. I think you're obviously not a hole in the wall, but all of the stuff that you offer is just not. This is way bigger than what I thought it was, which is a great thing. I mean, like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you took the time to talk to me about all of these, all the things you've got going on. Oh, here's a whole nother one right here, Duel's Blue Peppy. So you've got 1, 2, how many stallions do you have there?
So Duel's Blue Peppy is the rein cow horse that I was talking about earlier, who is sterile. So his semen is no good anymore. Unfortunately, it hasn't. The youngest babies I have by him are 2 actually, and they were I did have 2 of them in this last colt starting. But that will be the end of them. I think I have 6 or so broodmare daughters of his that I have, but it's not enough, but it's what we're going to get, I guess. I don't have any semen put back on him, unfortunately, which is hindsight is 2020. So I have plenty of semen on these other stallions, frozen and safe, so we'll have that in case of anything. But no, Dooley has, gosh, he's taught me how to ride. I thought I knew how to ride until we bought him, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and I got on him and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. I had to, I actually had to call the guy we bought him from and just get pointers because there's no broke horse, in my opinion. There's no horses broke quite like a reined cow horse. I mean, they can do the cutting and the reining, and they can, they're not just cutters, they're not just reiners, but they have to be both. And it takes a really special horse to be able to be all of those things at once.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that will definitely be one of my criteria for picking another new stallion is that they must be a finished reined cow horse because, my goodness, if you can do anything on him. And funny thing, actually, Dooley has turned out with a couple old mares that are not really, they aren't able to be bred either, but I was like, if something, miraculous happens and one of them becomes in foal, I'll be thrilled. But not getting my hopes up, but at least they're having a fun summer.
Right. Well, you are right about that. The reined cow horses can literally do all of it. Like I was talking to somebody else about it. Like, if you think about it, you got the reined cow. You've got reiners in their own little world. You got cutters in their own little world. You got the cow horse and ranch people in their little world. And now you have reined cow that goes, okay, well, we'll just do all of that at once.
Yeah. It's so amazing. And like I said, it's a totally different world. I had rode cutters my whole life growing up, and that was all I was used to. And just learning how to turn around. To turn around a cow horse is, I mean, it's not anything like a cutter can do or, has been trained to do, I should say. And it really opened up a lot of different avenues for me, too. I'm thankful for him as well. I mean, he's really been a huge asset to us as well, but
he's pretty. Well, he's the one. He's gonna stay there with you though. He's
forever,
one of them.
Yeah.
He's gonna die on the hill.
Yep, he is going to. I've not made the rough decision to geld him yet, but I may geld him, and my daughter or one of my kids will definitely ride him for some years to come. He's not terribly old. He's only 20, I think, and so.
Oh, that ain't bad at all. He's got 10, 15 more years.
I know. So, yeah, I think he was born in '04. Or, no, he's born in '03, so he's 21. And, yeah, so they'll have something really broke to ride, and I think it's super important that, people learn to ride on broke horses. I don't quite understand putting green people on green horses that don't know anything, but, teach their own.
Wait, that's funny you just said that, because I just ran across a post where somebody said that. They were like, don't buy your kids a green horse so they can grow up together. And they're very right, because even I mean, my parents were pretty smart, knock on wood. We had a very, very broke, pretty, not too old, but I'd say 15 to 18-year-old horse that we grew up on first. Then we could go, then I could go to my 3-year-old. And then,
exactly.
I don't understand that either. Why would you put them in that predicament? You need a horse that's going to take care of them.
Yeah. Well, and also, kind of going along with that, when I was actively starting the 2-year-olds here, I always made my broke horses a priority because if you don't ride a broke horse for a while, you kind of lose sense of what that feels like, and you need to know what a broke horse feels like in order to kind of transfer it over to your 2- and 3-year-olds. And so, if you have a
that's
broke
a good
horse
analogy,
and you're a colt starter, keep riding them, keep doing it because you don't want to lose the feel, and your 2-year-olds need that feel. So, yeah, that's another little tidbit of advice I have. Not that it's worth anything, but.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not going to break any horses at all, but I think it's great to know, it's cool to know this kind of stuff because you're right. I mean, if you don't, what's that old saying, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So,
yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That does make sense to make sure that you
Yeah.
stay on those broke ones.
Yep, for sure.
So it'll help you with the new ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And your young horses deserve it. Everybody does. Your old horses will appreciate the exercise, and the young horses will appreciate the knowledge. So.
Well, I'm glad y'all did it, and I didn't. I trust what you're saying.
Yeah. So.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and to teach me all of this, because this is just freaking cool as hell. I've just been like on your website, just being all over the place, because I just think this is really cool that you're doing what you're doing, and you guys have built this for so many years. It's really cool, and I'm glad Terry kind of brought you up and put me in contact with you. So.
I love him. He's somebody, like, you know how you just meet people and you just instantly feel like connected to them, or like that you've known them your whole life. He's one of those people to me. He's just, I don't know how to describe it. I truly
he's got
care
a good
about
soul.
him.
You can feel he feel like he's got a good soul.
He does. I think he does too, and he's not showy about things. He doesn't, he's not braggy about things, and I really appreciate that. And he's so sweet. I love him. He's going to judge for me the next 2 years at the colt starting. I don't know if he told you that, but.
No, I have no idea. Oh, and you know what, which I think is so cool, because I was a little oblivious to the whole colt starting, how it worked. I mean, I just knew it was an event, but I didn't really know exactly how it went. And he explained to me, which I think is really cool, you basically just go pick up this horse that's not been touched, or it's just been halter broke, that's it. And then you have to get it through the certain obstacles or whatever. And then I didn't know that it was judged. I thought it was just whoever could finish.
Yeah. No, it's judged. The first year, it's real quick. It's funny. We had an allotted amount of time for each session, as we still do, but it was a longer session. And these horses were progressing so fast, and we didn't even use like half the time. I'm like, man, we could do these in like hour-and-a-half sessions, and so these horses are only getting 3 rides, an hour and a half each. Like, they're not riding that long, but they're getting worked that long. And then they can go through an obstacle course. I guess that's amazing, I think. Horses are incredible.
I mean, who would have thought? Because, you get sold on the fact that, okay, well, I need your horse for 60 days or 90 days, or they need to stay in training and do this, and your average person just thinks, oh, okay, well, it's just a long, long process, which for specific training it is. But to get them from just basically nothing to having a saddle on, to me, I think it's cool as hell just to be able to see it go that quick, too. You don't.
Yeah.